Hey Slowpokes, it's Taurus. Oh, I still got the lights on. Hey Slowpokes, it's Taurus11. Welcome back to Worldbuilding Wednesdays. If you guys can't tell, I am sick. So that's sort of why I sound like this, but mostly my tone is because I'm feeling pretty whack about Worldbuilding Wednesdays as a whole. So, my favorite part about world building is designing magic systems, which isn't, like, that shouldn't be news if you've watched all of these. Is that I really like the magic systems. I like, my preferred type of magic system is a hard magic system. And what that means is it's basically science with fantastical elements. X does Y because Z. It all, like, an expected input gives an expected output. You know, frickin' Minecraft Infernalchemy, for example. Oh, well, you know, it uses soul and soul alignment, and soul has these properties, and potency has these properties. And it all coalesces into how the soul, the unaligned soul found in nature is refined and applied to a being soul that intakes the potion. Anyway, so I'm just checking to see if it's still on. Or at least I thought I have really liked that. But I'm facing, I don't know whether this is like ADHD paralysis or whatever. I don't even know if that's the correct term for it. But basically, I'm finding that the more I flesh out and the more I explain these things, the less I'm happy with it. You know, and it sort of becomes like a slog to get through on my part, and that shouldn't be the case. World building for me should be fun and light and easy, even though I'm not really good at making light or easy things. Yeah, so that's sort of been my problem. And this episode is pretty much just a rant. And you can, like, speed this up or whatever. Or just listen to my buttery smooth voice. It's not smooth, but it's buttery. Oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. Where am I going with it? I'm very sick. My head's a bit foggy. So, like, yeah, like Infernalchemy. You know, I thought, like, oh man, describing all of these things in Minecraft, why does the magical elements in Minecraft work the way they do, right? And so then I define it, and it sort of loses its magic. So I talked about this in the pilot episode, about how Tail Foundry did this video about hard magic systems versus soft magic systems. Now, the more you define the magic system, the less magical it is. It becomes a science. And I argued in the pilot that, well, that's not entirely the case. Because, you know, you can still find magic in the science. You can find the science magical. But I'm just not vibing with it. Like, for example, I'm working on this book. And I don't plan to be an author. That's not like my career choice. But I do like writing. It's storytelling. So I've been working on this book, and it's called The Fairy Bandit. The name does sound dry, though. I do want to, I plan on changing it. So name pending, but that's the title I'm working with right now. And it's about just that. A bandit, like someone who steals things, a thief, who's a fairy. And like I have this whole thing about how the magic works in that. And like I have this whole lore document, pretty much. It's a spreadsheet about how, hey, like this is how the magic works, right? And I like that. I like how I described it there. It's a softer magic system, but it's still got rules. Like, it's still inherently magical, right? Give input A, you're not necessarily going to get input B every time, but you can recognize patterns and what kind of inputs give what kind of outputs, if that makes sense. And something I'm really fond of when it comes to world building is the language, the linguistic aspect of that. I love language. That's why I use very like specific vocabulary in a lot of my streams and videos. Oh God, excuse me. It's because I use big flowery language because I like big flowery language. It's just sort of what I've adapted to using. And so I've been trying to go through all of these, like this naturalistic language exploration of these cultures, the difference between fairies and humans. And a common fae trope is that fairies can't lie. So I baked that into the language. If they lie or break a promise, they will physically die. And that's why they have 5 different words for yes for different scenarios and 5 different words for no. And those kinds of details I really like. But the more I'm working on these languages, both the human and non-human, the more I'm fleshing things out, the more I'm describing, the more it feels like I'm being squished into a box, if that makes sense, that I've designed. I'm designing the box actively, currently. I don't like that. I don't like being put in a box, even though I deliberately made all of these choices and then stepped into the box and am currently painting the walls. Like, it feels very backwards to me. Like, I was literally asking for it. I'm not gonna edit this video at all. I'm literally just gonna take a video of it, upload it straight to YouTube. So, apologies for the quality, but I don't feel good. Heck, I'm recording this a day ahead. It is freaking, what time is it? It's 1:30 a.m. Yeah. But like, okay, so the fairy magic and the fairy bandit is based on promises, right? You make a promise, your magical fairy self will perform all of the magic it can to ensure that you fulfill the promise. So like a fairy breaking a promise deliberately doesn't happen. You can't physically do that. And if you break a promise accidentally, it really is a skill issue. Like, your magic wasn't good enough, the magic flowing through your body. And also now you're dead. Because that's what happens when you break a promise, is that you basically instantly die. Or not instantly, it's a process, but yeah. And that part I like. The fairy magic, the druid magic, and the arcane magic, which I don't think I'm gonna explain in a World Building Wednesday, unless I'm like real pressed for material. because of how fluctuating it is, and I want to write a book about it, and I don't want to spoil the book. But I've spent so much time working on these languages and evolving them, like, linguistic timeline. I'm only in the Middle Ages. And I've been working on this for, like, what, 2-3 years now? I mean, not 3 years, but it's a long time, right? And, you know, J.R.R. Tolkien, Rolkin Tolkien, right? Great man, I love him. He set the groundwork for conlaying as a hobby, as an art, as a science even. How to create a language, how to create naturalistic languages even. Because he wrote his books as an excuse to put the language in a world. And I'm doing the opposite, right? I've created the world, but I'm designing languages for that world. And that allows me to make different decisions rather than, oh, this would be a cool feature. How does that represent their culture? For me, in my case, it's this is their cultural thing, full stop. How do I build the language around that? And it's been a very interesting exercise. But I'm struggling the fact that I'm over it. Like I'm done with the exercise before I finished any of the languages. And because the main character of the book is a fairy. And in this world, especially in the actual kingdom, the empire where this book takes place in, humans keep fairies as livestock to harvest magic. So I've spent all of this time painting the humans as the bad guys, and that's reflected in their language. It's very rough and harsh. It takes all of the aspects of Proto-Indo-European, which you guys should totally go look up if you don't know anything about it. Especially the phonetic inventory. I took a lot of that, those harsher sounds, and I used that. But I don't know. Taking the humans and painting them as explicitly bad and the fairies as explicitly good is very draining for me. I think that I want there to be complexity. But I don't want that complexity to be in the way of watching all of the like, okay, so the way I see it, right, is like the red string and the corkboard. Am I still recording? Yeah. Is the red string and corkboard stuff. Like, the corkboard, right, that's the magic, that's the magic. It's cool, it's got all these intricate patterns that were just by random chance. Every little chunk of it is a slightly different color. It's all mashing together and whatnot. And every time I connected the dots with coding the magic system, like this does this is why that happens, all that red string pretty much knits itself together until I have a wool blanket covering the corkboard, covering the magic system. It's all tangled up and muddled in itself. The complexity hides magic. And I think I finally understand what that Tale Foundry video was about. It was just that. Too complex is bad. And I think with the Minecraft Infern Alchemy, and what I've got going on with the Fairy Bandit stuff, is that all of this complexity, right? Which, I mean, complexity, because that's the thing. Complexity, like, that's the defining feature of humans, of humanity, of culture. of history is that it's complicated and messy. But I'm not designing things to be complicated and messy. It's complicated so it doesn't have to be messy. And I think that's my problem here. I know I'm pretty much just using you guys as free therapy. Except for the fact that you can't talk back until after I've gotten all my thoughts. But I'm too complicated for my own good here. So even though I said that I do like 4 parts of Infinite Alchemy, the more I write that Minecraft book, the less it feels unique, I guess. I've lost the magic. And at the pilot episode of Worldbuilding Wednesdays, that's like that's my whole thing, is that the complexity is magical to me, but I'm not sure I fully believe that anymore. And I'm not really sure how to move forward with that. Because on one hand, I don't want to just drop it, because like I've started all this cool stuff, right? Infinite Alchemy, that's super interesting. Like Minecraft potions, how does that interact with Minecraft's other systems, like enchanting, or heck, even using anvils? What does the Nether have to do with all of that? And I want to explore that, but I think I'm going about it wrong. I don't just want to audio record a textbook for you guys. I want you to feel like you're in the field with me researching, right? Almost like you're my apprentice and I'm teaching you all of these fascinating things about the world. I want it to feel like we're in the forest looking for mushrooms, right? Like you, the audience, and me, the master mycologist. It was just like, look at all these mushrooms. Look at where they grow. Look at their colors. Look how pretty it is. But Minecraft, and I think the beauty of Minecraft, right, is like it is that messy complexity that I've been looking for. It's all of these different independent things that are forced into proximity and they just smash into each other. It's awesome. And the way I've been explaining, like, I haven't been like getting into Minecraft, right? I'm not explaining what Minecraft is or how Minecraft works in game, like in world, in lore. I'm designing lore and using Minecraft to explain that. And I don't think that's what I should be doing. I don't think that's the way to go about it. So moving forward, right, and I want you guys to understand, in the Infinite Alchemy thing, that is the most I've written. That's a lot. But it's like the most in-depth I've gotten into a thing, right? Because I can name a bunch of villages in Lysau off the top of my head. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I recommend going back and watching the Tales from Minecraft episode of Worldbuilding Wednesdays. Anyway, or not Tales from Minecraft, the introduction to Greeler. And I don't like the name Greeler either. Like, there's just all of these things where I've said this is the thing, and I'm not liking it anymore. Anyway, I can name a bunch of villages off the top of my head from there. Plainsclaw, Chronoped, Spruka, the Village of Petals, Yellow Hill. But you can see a running theme here. And that's not all of them. Copper Lake, yeah, but you guys get the point, right? Is that there's all of these places, and like I have in mind what I want for them, what I want them to be, but I'm not looking at what they are. I'm not looking at what they are. And I think I need to start. So moving forward with my Minecraft stuff, I don't think I'm going to force it into fitting the body, command, and soul. Because I did explain it in one of the Slay the Spire streams. That, like, I wanted all of this to be interconnected somehow. But that's more complicated than it's worth. And again, that's me taking an existing thing and explaining it using Minecraft instead of using it to explain Minecraft. You know, I'm using Minecraft to explain it instead of the other way around. So what I've written so far, and I know this is annoying for you guys who did watch the video, but what I've said so far about Infinite Alchemy in Minecraft is no longer canon to my Greeler thing. Right. Moving forward, I'm dropping the whole body, soul, voice trichotomy. That's sort of what I'm calling it, because like as a creative writer, I draw great amounts of inspiration from everything I read. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've written some cringy fan fiction in my time that I still hold dear to my heart, but I'm never gonna let see the light of day, because any respect you guys once had for me will soon be gone. And I'll lose all my subscribers, and the funny internet number will go down, and then I will fall into a great depression, the likes of which hasn't been seen since the 20s. And I simply, like, I don't want that, so why would I put that on myself? But anyway, like, I've had a lot of inspiration from, in terms of comedy, from, like, Toby Fox in Undertale, and Rick Riordan with the Percy Jackson series. I'm not saying that I've written things about those specific fandoms, but as a storyteller, I appreciate a good story. And if you've watched my Undertale playthrough, you know that I believe that that is the essence of an amazing story. And Rick Riordan's an amazing author. And I've also had a lot of inspiration from Brandon Sanderson, right? And the Cosmere featured in his books. And I think that, and I'm not saying that I have directly copied him, because I haven't, right? If I wanted to copy Brandon Sanderson's stuff, I'd do it a lot better than the things I have been doing for Worldbuilding Wednesday. But I've definitely had inspiration, right? Where I wanted 3 main things, and I wanted them to have a great impact on every magic, or almost every magic system. And I wanted them to be like transient features of magic in all of my stuff. But I simply don't believe that's what I should do anymore. Like with the key, it was so cool how it's like mind, or a body, spirit, and voice, right? Because you hear the body, mind, soul dynamic thing, but like mind is now lumped in with body and there's a new thing, right? That's unique to them. And it also fits their 3 face orbs. But I'm also trying to expand that into places it simply doesn't belong. I don't think that system belongs in Minecraft. I don't believe I should put that in other things. I think I should let that go. And that's difficult. It's difficult to let my creations be what they are. But if I don't let them be what they are, I'm going to cover them in red string and I'm not going to be able to see the beauty inside or behind it. You know? I do still think that soul should be a thing in Minecraft, because you see it with the soul fire and the soul sand, right? That makes sense. Nether wart grows on soul sand, and then you put it in water to make soul water, and you put all sorts of other stuff in there, and you make it with blaze, and blaze are super powerful. Like, all of that makes sense, right? The big themes there make sense. And like the soul sand and the wither skulls, which is where I was going with that, right? Is that the wither makes the body think that every other cell in the body is the enemy, and that's where the decay comes from. But the soul and voice would still be there. And I don't like having the voice / command in Minecraft. Like, it makes sense that you have that interactability, which, if you had none of it, that explains adventure mode and spectator mode. But that simply doesn't fit well anymore. You know? I don't think so, at least. I know some of you guys would think so. That, oh, well, command, right? That's how you interact with the world. But Minecraft commands are interacting with the world on a more intrinsic scale, which, I already thought of. But I don't think that it fits anymore. And I like soul being a thing in Minecraft, because it sort of already is a thing. And with the wither, right? The body decays, but the soul is still there. So you just get something like sand, which can't decay, and you get this terrifying creature with destructive capabilities, the wither. But I think soul in Minecraft is a lot different than what I was trying to force it to be, rather than letting it be what it is, which is mysterious and barely understood. And that's the thing about Minecraft, is that because nothing is directly explained to you, a lot of it is barely understood. Like, I still like the idea that XP is power, and Skulk feeds on that instead of light, and then that turns into Lapis. Like, that seems like it makes sense. Skulk is already kind of blue, right? Lapis is already used for enchanting with XP. So why not just make Lapis Skulk Amber? Right? That feels like it makes sense. So I might keep that part of it. But having like potency be an aspect of soul, and alignment having to matter, and measuring things in joules, like it doesn't that isn't Minecraft. It's just not Minecraft. And that's what I want to do with the project, is I want to treat Minecraft like a world. And Minecraft as a world is very messy and independent of itself. Potions don't have to mean enchanting. Enchanting doesn't have to mean the end. The end doesn't have to mean like the dimension stuff. It doesn't have to mean things. It can just be what it is. And like in the Fairy Bandit, you know, we can recognize the patterns that are there, but it doesn't have to be like a mathematical function. Input A isn't going to give you output B. If you look at the enchanting table, all of the words, like all of the letters, right? It's just an English relix, or the English alphabet, just swapped glyphs. But the words themselves don't mean anything. It's just a bunch of gibberish from like a list of 100 or so words. You can put a pickaxe in there, 3 lapis, have 30 levels available, spend 3 of those, you can get Unbreaking 3 and Efficiency 4, and then do that again, and you get Silk Touch and nothing else. It's just, the same input doesn't necessarily mean the same output, but there are certainly patterns to it, and that's what I want to, going forward, that's what I want this whole, the whole Minecraft thing to be, is that. I want to feel like everything's a new discovery. And not like, I already know everything, it's just a matter of seeing how the world fits into that. That's highly reductive. And I feel like a lot of people in our world, in real life, have that mentality. Well, this is how I think the world works. And they're using the world they see to enforce that. Like, they're not letting the world be what it is. They're not letting humanity be what it is. Complex and messy. And that's what you see in, like, religion and astrophysics, which are 2 very different fields, but they have a very similar, like, the more elitist you become about it, the more it's like, well, this is how the world works. This is how quantum mechanics, these are the patterns, right? But we still don't know what the cause is. And once we figure out the cause, where do we go from there? Right? And that's what I wanted World Building Wednesdays to be, because I think that's super interesting. And I do want to know the cause, right? Which sort of contradicts what I just said, but I do want that. I want to know what is there. But everyone has those implicit biases. This is how I think the world works. If I expect the world to work this way, confirmation bias, I'm going to see the world working that way. That's like perception and placebo. It's phenomenalism. But phenomenalism, which is just the belief that reality is how you perceive it to be, your own biases skew that. I know we got real deep real fast here. Or how long have I been going for? 30 minutes. I know we got real deep real slow here. But it just sort of needed to rant for a bit. Especially about the state of World Building Wednesdays and moving forth. This is going to be a World Building Wednesday episode. I do not feel well to come up with more world building content this week. And while I'm ranting, Ticketmaster frickin' sucks. I want to go to an Arctic Monkeys concert, and frickin' Ticketmaster, it's charging 80 extra bucks for my tickets, and then it's adding extra, like, 40 bucks of fees, and then it wants me to pay insurance, which is another $40. So these $200 tickets is turning into a $500 bill. How do people afford to do that? I'm not even going to get good seats because I chose the cheapest tickets. The cheapest tickets. I'm just getting 2. I'm out freaking $600. Oh, it's so frustrating. And I was super angry, and so I didn't put a whole lot of effort into dinner, and I think that's what got me food poisoning. Which is also really embarrassing, because I want to be a chef. There's only so much barbecue sauce can fit. I know, like, towards the end here, I'm getting pretty incoherent. Because y'all don't know the context of my entire life. On purpose. I don't want you guys knowing everything about me. That'd be weird. I'm just trying to be the silly internet man who's like a worse Ninja Turtle. Don't tell Gilbert I said that. He'll be very angry. Alright, I'm going to pass out from exhaustion. I'm not gonna do the outro. I'm not even gonna put the intro in. No editing. Like and subscribe or whatever, man. I don't care. Do what makes you happy. Made it this far in the video. Do what makes you happy. Alright, y'all have a good one. See you next week, maybe. Bye.